Senator Donnghaile, please.
Alas Carly agus ira mabuchas a rís latsa as a bheith an seo harcion an ira cór agus cónanas. Minister, thank you for taking the time on behalf of the Minister to be here with us this evening. And if you'll forgive me, I had that much printed out today. I forgot to print my notes out on this, so I'll be reading off my iPad. if you'll excuse me. We're a high-tech chamber, you're right, Las Caharlac, so you'll forgive me. But there you go, and here we are. It just goes to show how busy we were this afternoon that I had that many notes to print off and discuss. So there you go. But to more serious matters, Minister, for the past 15 years, we in Sinn Féin have been urging the Government and supporting previous attempts, including Mark's, to introduce such safeguards into the workplace in the form of a corporate manslaughter bill. In fact, one was tabled by my colleague, Deputy Jonathan O'Brien, in 2016 in the Dáil. And according to the Health and Safety Authority, 421 people lost their lives at work between 2008 and 2016. This huge loss of life should act as a call to action for the Government. There should be no further delay in this matter. Hundreds of families are grieving the loss of their loved ones, and the Government and employers owe it to those carrying the burden of that loss from the workplace to ensure that there are no more deaths due to deliberate neglect. Corporate killing, that is death in the workplace as a result of employer indifference, needs to be put on a statutory footing. It's totally unacceptable that companies, through dereliction of their duty of care to those they employ, are endangering lives. The sentiments I'm expressing today would then apply to workplaces north and south. In the north, the Corporate Manslaughter and Corporate Homicide Act came into effect in 2007. Its first application occurred in a Belfast court in May 2012 and resulted in a firm being convicted of the death of an individual due to neglect. The firm in question was fined a considerable sum of money in respect of the death of their employee. So safety in the workplace makes sense for workers and employers both. It protects workers and employers. It's important to highlight that we too have a Workers' Memorial Day to remember all those who have died. In remembering them, we are also saying that no more tragedies at work should occur as a result of deliberate negligence. Health and safety in the workplace is not conditional on the ability of the employer to pay for it, nor should it be subject to a cost-benefit analysis. A price should not be placed on a worker's life by either the employer or indeed the Government. In circumstances where an employer is responsible for an employee's death, it is unacceptable that it is too difficult to hold the company to account and be made liable for that death, as has been outlined comprehensively by previous speakers. As a bit of an aside, Minister, we need to look no further than the Grenfell Tower fires that happened in London last June, and devastation that appears to have been caused by a dereliction of duty on the part of Kensington Council, all in an apparent attempt to save costs. I think the official figure of those who lost their lives as a result of that was 71, although there is general consensus that this figure is higher, given that some people are unaccounted for. And in citing that example, we don't even need to look that far. Mark outlined some of the more well-known tragedies that have occurred closer to home. It's clear, Minister, at least in my eyes, that the reason these people in Grenfell died was not because of some unfortunate tragedy, but rather as a result of their perceived socio-economic class. Were this other parts of Kensington and were it not social housing, would still be outraged to this day. But as these were for the most part welfare recipients, it's been swept under the carpet. And as I said, much closer to home, we have seen such similar devastation caused by fires at the Halton site in Carrickmines, and the apparent mismanagement on the part of the Council in maintaining the site to the point it descended into a state of disrepair that caused, at least in part, the death of 10 people, including children. So I don't make the accusation that this fits the definition of corporate manslaughter, and do understand that the case is being taken by the family as of very recently. And I don't want to adjudicate on somebody that is in the courts. However, there is to this day an apparent lack of accountability or recourse in light of the deaths of these people. The Law Reform Commission compiled a report on this topic, this very topic, in 2005. The report contains two main recommendations. The first is that a new statutory criminal offence of corporate manslaughter should be enacted, which would make an undertaking, such as a company, a public body or a partnership firm, responsible for a death arising from its gross negligence. The second key recommendation is that there should be an offence for senior managers of grossly negligent management causing death. A former Sinn Féin colleague, Arthur Morgan, produced a bill on the back of this report, but unfortunately it lapsed, and I hope the Government don't allow that to happen again this time. And it hasn't been clear, and I'll come into the very end, Niall, It's not clear why the Government has failed in its duty of care towards the working population by failing to introduce a corporate manslaughter bill. We can speculate about the motivation of employers when they oppose such legislation, and if there is opposition from employers, then the Government must not be deflected from its primary responsibility in this area. Sinn Féin believes that a legal incentive is required to concentrate the minds of government and corporate bodies in this important area, and we will be supporting the bill were it to progress further. There should be no further delay in protecting workers' rights and their safety in the workplace. No person should ever have to go to work nor live in fear that they will not return to their family due to the incompetency of their employers. Senator.